carrying loops is an important part of your Spey casting because as you cast longer and longer, what's going to happen is, you know, if you don't carry loops, the one loop that you carry just gets so long that it travels downstream and it snags all around the rocks. And a lot of times, even without the rocks, there's actually just enough water tension that the cast just simply won't really want to go out. So the key to getting past that is actually holding some loops and reducing the amount of water tension on the line and reducing the contact with the bottom substrate. And there's a few rules when it comes to carrying loops that are going to help a lot. The first one that I can think of is that your first loop should be the largest and your following loop should be smaller. So in this instance, I'm going to carry 3 loops. I'm going to start with my first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then my second one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then my third one, 1, 2. Now what you'll notice is I separated each one of those loops by 2 strips of length. And what that does is it makes them all dissimilar size, so they're a lot less likely to tangle when they're sitting on the water together. So as you can see, now I've reduced the amount of water stick on the line, and because I'm holding the loops, they're not touching the rocks on the bottom or getting dragged really far downstream, so the line easily releases from the water. Another thing to consider when you're holding loops is what hand you're going to hold them in. So you'll notice that I really like to hold them in my lower hand. The reason for that is I find if I hold them in my top hand, and I know some people do hold them in their top hand, but for my own preference, I find when I hold them in my top hand, because my top hand's up the rod, if I'm making all these motions, I can actually get this line to tangle around my hands. So I like having it in the bottom hand for myself just because it stays attached to the water and doesn't get affected by, you know, the big roll of a snake roll or a big snap of a snap key. So, you know, also, you know, a lot of people will, when they do their loops, they'll hold them in different fingers. I'm a little different. I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it all in one, just my pinky finger, my lower pinky finger. So you'll see folks, they'll all different fingers. I just think it's really hard. For me, I guess the biggest thing I struggle with is when I come forward, I like to just release the one finger. I find if it's in other fingers, I almost need to let go of the butt of the rod. So I like to keep a good grip on the butt of the rod, and so I just keep it in my pinky. I've got that one finger to release. Really nice and easy and simple.